how the last 16 for the first two games will be. Obviously, Russia is going to take on Spain, and of course, Portugal is going to take on Uruguay. Now, that's a game that will test the resilience of the Portuguese team, and of course, that is the game that is also going to give Cristiano Ronaldo an opportunity to prove his worth, and of course, an opportunity to obviously push Portugal further, and of course perhaps find themselves in the last 8 of this year's tournament. Yesterday we had quite a lot of interesting games with interesting results, and it's confirmed Morocco is out as well as Egypt from the tournament. Now, it's something that most of us really expected due to the fact that, the two teams did lose their opening 2 fixtures. So it was obviously something that most of us knew for sure, that the 2 African teams are definitely out of the tournament. But obviously for Mo Salah, he's leaving the tournament with about 2 goals at least, so he has got something to boast about. But still talking about Mo Salah, he is contemplating retiring from international football due to the propaganda going on surrounding him being used as a pawn in politics as well. So it's something that has pushed him further to perhaps consider retiring from international football. So we are yet to hear the announcement, and of course we are yet to hear his stance when it comes to that, whether indeed at 25 he will be retiring from international football, or perhaps he will give himself a further 2, 3, 4 years to come still performing for Egypt as well. Welcome to Around Sports. Obviously the Zambia team, the Zambia teams that we had sent to Botswana for Kuksa Games are back in the country, and of course we have just given them enough time to rest before we can obviously get to talk to them, so that we can get to hear their field experiences in terms of how the games were for them, and of course in terms of how the tournament was. But obviously for the Zambia volleyball men's team, they performed quite well because they managed to mint bronze. They came 3rd in that particular tournament. So it's something that we are definitely going to talk about. And of course, we have fixtures for games that will be played today, and of course for games that will be played tomorrow in as far as the MTN Fast Super League is concerned. My colleague is in the studio with me. Agri, it's good to have you. Thank you so much for taking time to come on the show today. We start with the Kuksa Games. The volleyball men's team managed to mint the bronze during the last Kuksa Games held in Botswana.
Well, it's a congratulations. That performance deserves a congratulations message, because it's not easy to get into a tournament and you come up with something to show to the public that you are part and parcel of the competition. And how remember, if you recall on Thursday, how I wish I knew that we'll be playing in the 3rd and 4th, but I hoped to meet to meet Botswana, and it happened that we had to play them in the 3rd and 4th. I hoped to play in the finals, but nevertheless, it's good that. At this point in time, we are growing in the game. We are able, to challenge and be able to overcome the challenges that we have been facing in the past, especially in terms of meeting the likes of Botswana, the likes of South Africa, as well as Zimbabwe. They have been giving us tough time whenever we play against them. Tough luck that they lost in the semi-finals to South Africa, who later on played against Zimbabwe in the final. But any medal is welcome. Any given medal is welcome, being bronze, silver. Well, everyone would hope for a gold, but if you cannot if you cannot get a gold, any medal is welcome, because it signifies the ability and your contribution into that tournament. And for them, the bronze, we will receive it.
Bronze will receive it, and obviously if there is a happy man at the moment as we speak, well, John Fonsani is a very, very happy man that his team that he had prepared so well, that he had taken enough time to prepare, definitely came 3rd in this particular tournament, even beating the host nation itself, because Zambia, for the third and fourth place, they played Botswana, and of course they managed to beat Botswana 3-2. So John Funsani must be a very happy man, and if he was to smile today, I think I wouldn't blame him for smiling, because Zambia got a bronze, but I think he has got every reason to smile. Third position.
He has got every reason to smile. So when you look at the game of volleyball, it's starting to grow. At this point in time, there is a reason to smile because of the growth that is showing in the game of volleyball. We have seen a lot of activities in volleyball, and these activities are contributing to to minting medals at at Coxa Games. And when you see such results coming in, you are hoping, you are even optimistic to say, okay, as we are coming next time, we are going for a better position than we have managed to to find ourselves this time, because you are looking at where you are coming from. There is progress. There is a progression, level in terms of last time when in the Cooks, and this time the volleyball team were able to to get into the medal rim and be able to raise the flag high. So why wouldn't one smile, especially from the coach's perspective? It means his methods are working.
Indeed, his methods are working, and of course, in the finals, it was Zimbabwe meeting South Africa, and South Africa lost by the same margin that obviously Botswana lost to Zambia. It was Zimbabwe 3 sets, and of course South Africa 2, which obviously confirmed the fact that Zimbabwe is the champion for this year's Coxa Games as well. So the standings as follows: Zimbabwe first, and of course with the gold, silver went to South Africa. Bronze came to Zambia. Fourth, it was Botswana. Fifth, it was Lesotho, and of course the sixth, it was the Kingdom of Eswatini, formerly known as Swaziland. For the ladies, well, Zambia wasn't among the top 3, but they managed to get the top 4 position. It was Zimbabwe occupying first position with gold, silver obviously going to South Africa, bronze went to Botswana, and of course Zambia came fourth, and lastly it was Lesotho as well. So congratulations to the two teams. I think they did put up a great work there. Now, the team, as they were in Botswana, managed to send us a couple of pictures, and of course showing all smiles from the ladies, the coach, men, and stuff like that. And of course what you're seeing on your screen, ladies and gentlemen, obviously confirms the fact that, wow, minting bronze wasn't really that bad. Look at the smiles of the ladies. Look at the smiles of the gentlemen. Look at the smiles from the coach himself. I think it was awesome. It was quite great, especially that the tournament was in foreign soil, was definitely in foreign land. So Zambia was playing away from home. They did not have fans. They never had support. So the support they had was only coming from, obviously, the bench itself, and of course the technical bench itself. Apart from that, maybe people from those people residing in Botswana, Zambians residing in Botswana, perhaps maybe managed to come in there. But at this level, I can't confirm the fact that we had support.
In terms of support, when you're playing away or in a foreign land, you get support based on the performance you put up. Every sports lover, every sports fan will always cheer the team that is doing fine, the team that is playing well, the team that is showing classy on that particular day, and that's who they support at the end of the day. So based on the results that they managed to produce, I believe and trust that they managed to woo a certain number of supporters who managed to run behind them, and who managed to encourage them at the end of the day, so that they can be able to achieve what they achieved.
Going forward, what's next for the team?
Well, what's next for the team as they come back? Obviously, it's just the matter of players going back into their respective clubs and continue into the season. As we know that the volleyball season is up and running, It's one that it had a recession of this period, but as they come back, it's the league is resuming. So it's just a matter of the individual players to keep the fitness level high, to concentrate on the game and be able to maintain the form and to improve, so that in the next engagement they can be part and parcel of the same squad and be able to produce better results than what they produced this time.
All right. So Kuksa Games ended last weekend, and of course, Zambia managed to mint bronze in the men's volleyball tournament. For the ladies, they finished fourth in the ladies volleyball tournament as well. Congratulations to the two teams, and of course to other teams that represented the country as well. We had female football there, and of course we could see different results coming through just like that. While different sports disciplines in Zambia are definitely growing so well, and all they need is obviously support from the government, funds, and of course everybody involved. I'm sure that during the next Kuksa Games we should be able to mint something better than bronze, perhaps even go for gold itself. But for this year's Kuksa Games, gold went to Zimbabwe in volleyball. Both male and female team, they were exceptionally so well. Beat South Africa in both male and female. Wow, quite interesting there. South Africa lost in both.
Well, it's quite interesting when that reminds me of the Zone 6 that we had in December.
Mm-hmm.
Look at the performance that Zimbabwe had put up with. The results that they are producing. They were even in the finals of the ladies. Zimbabwe were playing against itself. So you would understand why at this point in time at the Kuksa Games they were able to dominate in all categories, being ladies as well as gents. It's because of the level of competition that those guys do have. Look at even I'll even remind you of even basketball. Look at the how these Zimbabweans perform even in our own local league. When you have one or two individuals across the Zambezi River, that person will be the one to watch for that team, and that's the seriousness that they put up in these sports disciplines. They do have a very good discipline, in terms of in on the pitch and off the pitch, and that's what makes them being different from the other other teams, other countries. And most of these countries, especially Zambia, we need to learn one or two things from the Zimbabweans.
Talking about basketball, we have one player who plays for Unza Hannes, who is coming from Zimbabwe, and she's quite good. In fact, during the previous tournament that we had, she was very, very good. Actually contributed to Unza Hannes winning the national championships for 2017 and 2018 as well. So Zimbabwe is really, really investing heavily in other sports disciplines, and of course perhaps Zambia is learning something from that as well. Now moving on the show, we get to some of the fixtures that will be some of the fixtures in the MTN FAR Super League for the games that will be played tomorrow. Now Zesco has got another formidable opponent that they will be playing tomorrow. They'll be taking on Lusaka Dynamos. That on your screen, ladies and gentlemen, that is the fixture for tomorrow. That is Wednesday 27th. Now, LD Zesco has got an opportunity to maintain their top spot if they beat LD.
Well, Zesco they have been in the winning streak for week 7, for seven games now without a defeat, without a draw. They are winning, and coming into this fixture, they are in the winning mode. Of course, you cannot take anything away from LD. They are from beating Kana at the weekend, so at their own backyard, Nkana lost to Lusaka Dynamos. So it's a game that two teams coming with the positive minds, with confidence, confidence of winning their previous fixtures. But at the end of the day, I think what would determine is who has the depth in terms of in the squad.
Can LD replicate the same result at Nkana, but this time around at Zesco?
I don't think so. They have been, the Lusaka Dynamos have been blowing hot and cold. So this week they can produce a very good results like what they did at Nkana by beating them 2-0. But come this week, this Wednesday, they meet Zesco. I wouldn't be surprised if they lose. Because if the best result for me for LD this one is a draw, because of the way they have been inconsistent this season, and it seems like there is still a lot of room for them to understand from player perspective, as well as the coaching bench, because the Dan Kabwe hasn't yet found his footing at LD, but slowly they are getting there.
Nkana will be looking at obviously mending the wounds that LD did open over the weekend as they when they lost to LD by 2-0. But this time around, they'll be looking at mending those wounds as they meet Nchanga Rangers. Forest Rangers actually in an away encounter. And it will be a game involving two lions crushing each other, trying to see who is going to be dominating. So now Rangers will be taking on Nkana. Nkana is coming into this game after a 2-0 home loss to LD, and of course they'll be looking at obviously trying to mend all those wounds that were opened by LD. But how easy will it be in this particular fixture? They are coming in as wounded buffaloes anyway.
Well, it's a fixture that Nkana needs to take it, at the end of the day. But Forest Rangers, it's a stubborn team. They have proved to be, a giant killer. The moment whenever they meet, these top teams, these big guys, they always up the game, and what is for them, what they are going to do is to manage, to limit, to control, to stop Nkana from attacking them more, to limit them from scoring. Well, the moment they manage to hold on them, for them to limit them in terms of possession in the attacking zone, they can just sneak in one goal. They are able to defend that, and it can be a done deal. And that's what Nkana needs to manage. In terms of counter attack, they need to look carefully. With the Forest guys, they are very good at.
I don't know whether Nkana is going to buy that. Whether Nkana will be or is in the right frame of mind to buy that that advice that you're giving them, because they're looking at, wow, we can't draw this game and we can't lose again. We are from losing at the back of our yard. So this one, we need to go all out, attack them from all angles, from the mid, from the wings. We need to make sure that our strikers, Sate and of course Wadia, they need to be in the right frame of mind. They need to be able to push. They need to get goals, because at this level at which Nkana is, cannot afford dropping further points, because they have Green Buffaloes to look at, they have got Red Arrows to look at, they have got Power Rangers, they have got Power Dynamos to look at, and of course other teams as well. Butcon is also pushing in. It seems like from the look of things, Tennant is settling so well at Butcon. So they cannot afford to lose any more points at this level.
That's the reason why I've said they need to, they do have the capability of attacking. They do have a lot of strikers. Nkana is one team that would go into a game with 5 strikers. 3 they will start, 2 they will be on bench. you know, with Beston Chambeshi, he believes in attacking. Yeah, we have seen, you know, his game plan. We have seen what he has done with, you know, the national team as being a caretaker. You know, even at the time when he was with the under 20, even at Ghana, he likes, you know, going outright with more strikers without, you know, rather than using more, you know, defense or midfielders.
Well, I think that pays off because look at Russia. I'll give you an example of Russia just at this year's World Cup. Look at the system that they employed in their opening fixture against Saudi Arabia. They had 5 attacking players with just about, I think should be 2 midfielders and 3 defenders.
They only had 1 striker. That's the difference.
Mm-hmm.
You know, the difference is that you when you want to, you know, as much as you want to go outright to, you know, in attack, you need at least to have more midfielders who can control play, rather than having strikers who cannot control play, who are waiting for a supply.
You want goals, so
you want,
I mean,
but who is going to supply if you have got,
so meaning
if you have got so many people to wait?
Meaning you just need to make sure that you tell your strikers to say, guys, don't give up the ball unnecessarily, because
So
once we are caught on the attacking, or once a counter attack comes in, then
dead.
you just know that we're dead.
That's a challenge that, you know, that in Ghana they have been having, because they would go into a game. They would go into a game with Idris Mbombo, Sate, as well as Waterwari, of which all of them, you know, they are players that are waiting for supply. Yes, recently, you know, due to because of the system, at least I've seen, you know, Waterwari trying to, you know, to drop into the mid and try to create something, 1 or 2, and be able to help up in the midfield and, you know, supply his friends up front. But it hasn't really worked, you know, to his ability or his capability, because we know what he's capable of doing, and we are seeing what he has been forced to do. It's very difficult for him to operate at this point in time because of the role that, you know, he has been forced to play, rather than the role that you know, he freely, you know, express himself and be able to contribute positively to the squad. So that's the reason why I'm saying the only, you know, Forest Rangers, they'll go into this game to control, to you know, to neutralize the likes of, you know, Idris Mbombo, be able not to give them, you know, chances, spaces for them to, you know, to terrorize them that much, and at the same time find spaces and see how they can, you know, hit Nkana on a counter. And for them, they are very good at defending, and the moment they get a goal, it can never be easy for any team to equalize or to, you know, reduce or cancel the scoreline from Forest. And for Nkana, it's high time they need to, you know, to wake up.
But I believe Ghana has got enough players that can actually push in and, of course, be able to get goals for them. They've got Idris Mbombo. I think ever since, you know, he joined the team, I think he's been quite prolific in terms of goal scoring, and of course he's managed, you know, to bring in 1 or 2 goals here and there. And talking about, you know, Waterwali, ever since, you know, his saga was settled, I think he's also back in the right frame of mind, and of course he's able, you know, to get 1 or 2 things. So I believe Nkana still has what it takes, you know, to pull up 1 or 2 goals, and of course be able to get, you know, maximum points from this particular fixture. So those are the 2 fixtures that you can relish to watch apart from the World Cup fixtures. Locally, we've got Zesco taking on Lusaka Dynamos, and of course Forest will be hosting Nkana as well. The wounded Nkana, after losing to Lusaka Dynamos by 2-0 right at the back of their yard as well. So it was quite a very painful defeat. You know, lose to any other team, but to your rivals, wow, that means quite a lot, because, you know, it means your rivals have moved, you know, a step further, either catching you up or probably pushing you down. That is the state of affairs. That's the reason why Nkana has to be on the lookout, because they have got Red Arrows, they have got, Green Buffaloes, they have got LD themselves, they have got PD themselves, they have got Zesco, they have got Zanaco as well. So all these teams I've mentioned, they are pushing for the top 4 slot. Okay, so it only takes stronger teams to be in the top 4. So the drama that obviously we saw last season might actually be the same drama that we might have to experience even this season, because teams have invested heavily in their teams, they have invested heavily in their players, so they want to make sure that they start seeing the result. Even Butekon, as we speak, over the weekend they managed to get maximum points, so they want their monies to start paying back. But now talking about Butekon, as much as they have invested heavily, as they are at the point of getting results, players are also leaving. Brand Miller is in Egypt as we speak.
Well, these are some of the challenges that we I think for me I see in the Zambian league. We don't really have the exact period that you can safeguard your player, you can control your players, but they always tend to leave at whatsoever time they feel like leaving. I can't really understand what sort of contracts do they sign, because the time when Brian Miller joined Butekon from South Africa Platinum, it was reported that he had signed a 2-year deal. But
and within that 2 years, he decided to get
within just less than 6 months, that 2 year whatever happened to that 2-year contract.
Could we conclude that it was mutual consent? Both parties had to agree to say, okay, we'll leave you, go and stuff.
Well, if that's the case, that's good. It's good for both sides. But at the same time, it really needs to be well communicated to the fans so that they do understand. There are rumors that I'll tell you that there are rumors that for Tembo, wants to leave LD to go back to Power Dynamos, but the fans they are not receiving that news with open arms or with open minded. They don't really like that story. They are not even happy with that story, whether it's true or not. But I'm just speaking from the fans' perspective, because it's very important to communicate to the fans. They are the stakeholders. They are the people you are waiting in every game that they should come and watch this game so that you can raise something at the end of the day. But if you are not keeping those people, that contributes for you to continue making business out of football, then it can't go well.
It can't go well, especially when you're leaving a team at a time when the team seem to need you more, when the league is now reaching at a point where you can't drop any points unnecessarily. In this case, Brian Miller leaves the team at a time when Butekon, I think, need him more. Yes, Butekon has got so much so much talent that they've bought recently. They have so much experience in the likes of Sambalungu and of course others as well. But I think it's a time when they need a team intact. They need a team intact. And he's in Egypt as we speak.
And when you look at him, even the time that Butekon has been struggling, he has managed to give them goals. At least he has managed to give them 1 or 2 goals in the time of their struggle, as they are trying, to build up, as they are trying to gel. And the person that you had high hopes to say, okay, this guy he's scoring at least in the struggle moments, and the moment we are in a comfortable corner, he just goes. He just leaves when you thought, okay, if he could get 1 goal, as we are improving, he would get more than 1. Then, boom, he's gone.
Yes. We can never have a better sound of what has happened apart from boom. Yes, he's in Egypt as we speak, signed a 3-year contract with one of the clubs there. So he's no longer with Butekon. You're still watching Around Sports on QTV. We go for a break. When we come back from the break, we want to reflect on what's happening in Russia as the first games for the last 16 knockout stages have already been decided. Russia will take on Spain, and of course, Portugal will take on Uruguay. We go for a break.
As a believer, you need to know that you are on a journey of faith, and this is a Faith Avenue. We take you right in the have 4 segments under this wonderful house called Faith Avenue, and we are looking at the Word is Life segment, where we get deep in the Word of God, and in here we get to feed on the Word, because we know that Jesus is the bread of life. You need the Word for you to live and move on in life. There's always been a gap between you, the members of the church, and your clergy out there. So I come right in between, as a Messiah, to bridge up the gap. You get to know your clergymen right, well, and better. And this is called Cage and the Clergy segment.
You say it's his weakness.
The weakness of my father?
Yes, exactly. Well, if you know your dad well, then you should be able to tell us.
That's a dangerous question to ask.
Exactly.
Especially if you have to answer it and he's there.
On your celebrity segment, we bring to you live and direct your celebrities, where we just get to discuss their lives, get to know where they were born from, what they've been up to, schools they went to, and everything about them. It is on your celebrity segment.
For him.
All right.
And that is why I did that song.
With that said, tell me, when were you born again? In fact, are you born again?
I am born again.
You could be called a pastor and yet you're not yet born again. To prove to you that this family is indeed growing, we have a new segment called The Art for Jesus. And this is where we get right in your church. We identify your group and make sure we bring out every talent possible in your church. It could be poetry, it could be singing, it could be rapping, rhyming as you put it. It could also be, sign dancing. We are bringing you out, to the public, the art for Jesus. Make sure to join us every Sunday at 10 hours for a premiere, and at 17:30 a repeat, and the final rerun on Saturday 8 hours.
Whatever it is,
Only on QTV. Experience of.
All right, let's get to Russia, ladies and gentlemen. Now, look at how beautiful that trophy that you're seeing on TV looks like. Okay, we deliberately wanted to show you the trophy, the World Cup trophy, that 16 or 32 teams are actually fighting for. So what you're seeing on the screen, ladies and gentlemen, that is the beautiful World Cup trophy made out of gold that 32 teams are fighting for in 64 games. But obviously, as we go on since last week, games have been reducing, and of course some teams are confirmed out of the tournament. Poland is out of the tournament. We also have Egypt out of the tournament. We have Morocco out of the tournament. Saudi Arabia is also out of the tournament. Iran apparently is also out of the tournament. After putting in so much, after doing so much, I think I loved the kind of football that Iran definitely displayed, but they're out of the tournament. Now, Hargreaves, so far as of today, any team that you can pinpoint and say, wow, this team is reaching the finals?
Well, not yet.
Not yet.
Not yet.
Not even Spain.
No, not even Spain.
Not even Portugal.
Not even Portugal, because when you look at the type of the game, or the style of the play that they have exhibited, none of the above teams, maybe except Uruguay, that managed to win all their group stage games, but the rest of the rest of the 3 teams that have already been done with their groups, they still have a lot of work to do. They still have a lot of things to correct, so that we can
look at the performance. Look at the performance of the top players that we have been watching in various league seasons. We'll start with Spain. Look at the performance of David De Gea. He at the moment he's the world's best goalkeeper.
But the performance.
But look at the performance. Yesterday, actually, he rated lowest. When they were rating players for Spain, he was rated the lowest.
With De Gea, I really.
Experience?
That's what I'm looking at him, because you cannot.
This is the first tournament.
Because it's the first major tournament that he has managed to man the goalpost as number 1, and when you look at the performance that he has displayed, the past 3 games that he managed to play, he has already managed to play at the World Cup. None of his performance is close or near to the performance that he has always been putting up in the 7 years that he has been at Manchester United. Look at the period of time that he has been at Manchester United. 3 seasons. For the past 3 previous seasons, he has been voted the player of the season at the club. And when you compare that record and that record and the record that he's been setting at the World Cup, they don't match.
Look at Spain. Look at some of the key players that they have. Spain has managed to come up with a team that is a combination of fresh and, of course,
The young and the old.
Exactly. They have Iniesta. I think in all the 3 games that Spain has played, Iniesta has been quite good, as always. Edging, but he's been
He's
there.
been good, but look at even the same Iniesta. Look at the era that he and Ramos made yesterday.
Well, that is just
that caused the first goal for
exactly. That is just one error that he has made so far. I think so. It costed the team.
It doesn't matter how many errors you make, but
as long as they cost your team.
Exactly. you can make 1,000 errors in a game.
As long as if they don't cost your team, it's okay.
It's home and dry.
So far, for you, when we get Spain, who has been the most outstanding player so far in the Spanish team?
Diego Costa.
I was thinking Isco has. In the previous 2 games, he's been
Isco is playing his game. Isco is playing the game that I've seen playing at Real Madrid. That's the same the same type of football he's playing at Spain. He has been given a free role. He can run all over the pitch, and he's able to deliver. But I've singled out Diego Costa because he has been in and out of the Spanish national team. But in the previous 3 games, he has showed what he's capable of doing. He has showed that he's not affected of whatsoever that has been ruining him out of the squad, and he has been able to help the team when the team needs him the most.
Okay, let's get to Portugal. How would you rate? Yesterday, actually, Ronaldo was rated 4.65 in terms of performance. He missed the penalty, and of course he was below par in terms of rating.
He made that the missing of the penalty. He had put it in his back of the mind from the time he missed the penalty. The moment he gets to the ball, he loses the ball. He gets frustrated. So frustration played a very negative role in yesterday's game in his performance, because he couldn't save himself from missing the penalty, and that's what killed his game yesterday. And it was a quiet day for him. It was a very bad day at the office. Despite missing the penalty, even his contribution was not really good enough for the team.
Let's talk about Mohamed Salah. Egypt is out of the tournament, but obviously as they leave the tournament, the man you're seeing on your screen has got 2 goals. He scored in the second game, a penalty, and of course in yesterday's game as well against Saudi Arabia, he was also on target. Now, Mohamed Salah, ever since he went to Russia, he's been entangled in political, political propaganda, which has frustrated him to the point that now he feels, I think it's high time that I drop off my boots and just concentrate on my club career.
Well, it's very challenging, with him, because he's coming from the country with a lot of controversies when it comes to political issues, political matters, in the political arenas. Even when the time he went to the World Cup, he went as one of the most popular person in Egypt, because even the time of voting, when Egypt goes to the polls, certain voters, certain individuals, instead of casting their votes based on the people who are on the ballot paper, they would prefer writing their own candidate on the ballot paper, and his name has has been appearing in so many in so many ballot papers, and he has got a very huge following for whatsoever party he's running, just because of his contribution, the love that the Egyptian have for him from what he does. At the end of the day, it brings him into a very difficult a corner, because as sportsmen, they always try sports, they always try to separate it from the political governance, and that draws him to what he's trying to avoid. So at the end of the day, it's a situation whereby he's trying to find a way in which his name won't be appearing frequently or appearing in any way in the political governance, so that he doesn't have any so to say enemies in the government. Because at the end of the day, as he grows in his footballing career, he's 24, 25. By the time he goes to 30, if at this point in time the projection number of people following Muhammad Salah, in trying to rear him in the political governance, can be pronounced as at least 1,000 plus. What after 30, after 5 years from now, how many would that number? Because you don't expect that number to decrease, you expect it to increase. For whatsoever reason, those numbers are increasing. For whatsoever reasons, those people who, instead of casting a vote for who are on the ballot paper, they decide to write their own candidate. For whatsoever reason, it's happening like that. You never know. That's where he's trying. For me, that's why I feel he's trying to try to underline the difference between sports as well as political governance.
He might actually be the next George Weah of Egypt, from being a footballer, quite famous, to being a politician and of course a president. Okay, so he's just contemplating on retiring from international football. That hopefully that doesn't take place. As we speak, Egypt is out, Morocco is out, Iran is out, Saudi Arabia is out, and of course we're yet to see more teams that will be eliminated today. And of course Poland is also out of the tournament as well as we speak, as they lost to Colombia by 3-0. Okay, so in that group, it remains on Japan, Senegal, and of course Colombia as well. Last games will determine. Now today we've got one key fixtures that is worth talking about. Nigeria will be fighting for their lives as they take on Lionel Messi's team. Now, the BBC has reported that Lionel Messi looks quite stressed, which is also causing a lot of worries to the coach ahead of the Nigeria crash, because Argentina does not want to take Nigeria quite lightly. Looking at the performance that Nigeria put up in the previous match, it was a fantastic performance. So now Argentina is thinking, well, anything is possible in football. But the stress that Messi has exhibited so far could actually contribute to either Argentina winning the game or perhaps going home. Is Argentina going home?
They are in a very very difficult situation at this point in time, because they came into this World Cup the favorites in going into the final. They are one of the teams that are among the favorites, and looking at the results that they have produced in the first two games, it's quite disappointing. Everyone is disappointed. Everyone could be disappointed and be stressed out. Look at the second game they played, and just look at the way the Aguero felt after the final whistle. he
And
almost
speaking about Aguero, Aguero might actually not feature in today's fixture. He's been ruled out,
well,
not because of injury, but I think there are other issues that the coach Sampaoli has against Aguero.
even in the second game, even after the game, he almost got paralyzed, in such a way that he couldn't even fail to walk on his own. He had to be helped by his friends because of the amount of disappointment that he got from the results that they produced against Croatia after losing that game to Croatia. But it's very difficult for the Argentines, especially the senior players, the big players, the likes of Aguero, Lionel Messi. I can see Mascherano is holding up very well. He's very strong. Has got a very strong mentality, and he feels he's ready until to the last whistle. I don't really know how the likes of Higuain will handle it, but I'm sure he will relish the challenge of starting the game, since the first two games he failed to make it to the first 11. So if Aguero does not take part, Higuain will relish the challenge and try to see and maybe he can help the team or prove something at the end of the day.
But the question is Higuain going to fit in, especially that he hasn't played in the last two games. So what assurance can we get from him that he's going to perform? Because now he has to read the game. He has to flow with his team. He has to gel with his team at this particular level. If at least the last two games he played even just half or 10 minutes, it could have given him at least a perspective in terms of what approach Argentina is taking.
Well, he did came in as a sub in the game against Croatia. So, but I think the biggest challenge that Argentina has been having in the previous two games is lacking of creating midfielders. As much as they are relying much on Messi to create something at the end of the day, but they need to realize that Messi is an attacker. He's a front liner. He plays up front. He needs someone to give him balls, to give him to create chances as well for him, as much as he can create for himself and others. But he also needs someone to help him out, and that's what they haven't been having. Meza haven't been doing that. He just keeps running on the lines. But what does he do when it comes to in play? Retro you can talk about. Look at the first game with Di Maria. He was flat. He couldn't make any runs. He couldn't make any dribbles that we know of Di Maria. And that's the reason why even the second game against Croatia, he was benched. He never featured. But most people criticize the coach for that. But at the end of the day, he's also looking at the contribution of an individual on a particular day. But hopefully, in today's game against Nigeria, the likes of Di Maria can rise to the party. Then they can help Lionel Messi. Yes, he hasn't performed, but he has the most dribbles in the tournament so far. So that shows how important the player is. How valuable his contribution can be. But at the end of the day, he needs also the likes of Di Maria, the likes of Meza, the likes of Pavon when they come in, to help him out, to make something out of the half chance they can have. The good the likes of Higuain as well as Aguero. Give them a half chance, they'll deliver. Look at the first game, the first goal that Aguero scored. It was out of from nothing, but he had to make something out of it. But at the end of the day, they need more supply. Up front, they need more supply, and that's what Argentina is failing to do. They're failing to supply their frontliners. The midfield is not doing much. The midfield needs to do much so that they lessen the pressure from their defense. And if they can manage to do that, they can carry the day. But I hope Nigeria, they don't give them that room.
Croatia is taking on Iceland, and of course Nigeria at exactly 20 will be taking on Argentina in a do-or-die encounter. Nigeria has to win if they have to progress to the next round. That same applies to Argentina as well. So the only team that has confirmed qualification is Croatia, who've managed to win 2 of their opening games. So that is the only confirmation they have. The other 2, well, they have to battle it out. So either Nigeria or Argentina, one has to remain, and of course possibly join Iceland in the teams or in the road going back home. All right, so now lastly, last weekend we had the under-17 inter-school tournament in volleyball, and of course we are going to leave you with the highlights for one particular game, quite interesting, that was played. You're going to see quite a lot of talent among among Zambian volleyball players. At least talent is exhibited, and of course we need to tap into that talent so that we can nurture it. And I hope that different clubs, representatives from different clubs were there just to just see the talent that is there, and of course be able to tap it from there and be able to fuse their teams as they strengthen the grip of their teams. We'll be back on Thursday with another edition. Enjoy the highlights.
Kwata kwa di time nadi mwifungu Daimani mulukungu Life ya di fimbi nombe toloshi finali muntungu Nimbone findi Panonda pa nimbone fingi Maletindi pulanga Pana wadezi wambone shimbi Yawe tu aido Bigi mana petaito Business ya lashe ya paile iletele shaiko Baticha balenje batiloka French ushina marapwayo Fine na kweba pinga momunga Bufi konkanya pwalo Kuni negativity ne son shaft pele na attention Numba manje mufimbila kwa talionse banchaya mensheni Kosi From zero to Zadi. From zero to Zadi. From zero to Zadi. Come on. Yeah. Started from the bottom, panding off ya maotomo. Spitfire, barenje batala kupishanga ochomosh. Tumina kubambuya bepshe bushaire fertilizer ya difka. Shukuru alefu ama jombo ne koti vyonse bebe na lishta. Raw model na mukombon, popular icona common. OG de nabo bambi ma pirate ma long john. Breadwinner, sizing, best feature 1.5 imo. Confirmed di kunga, transformation of the lunga. From zero to Zadi. From zero to Zadi. From zero to Zadi.
Raising a banner of glory, thanking God for changing my story. Your doubt is awakening, the champion in me. I kept it burning from zero to Zadi.
From zero to Zadi.
I kept it burning from zero to Zadi. I kept it burning from zero to Zadi.
Young Chef, burn up.
It's Radio Cafe.
Listen. Kwata kwa the time nadi mwifungu daimani mulukungu life ya difimbi nombe toloshi finali muntungu nimbone findi panonda panimbone findi paletindi pulanga panawadezi wambone nshimbi yawe tu aido bigi mana petaito business ya lashe ya paile iletele shaiko baticha balenje batiwoka french rushi na marapwayo fine na kweba pinga momo nga bufi konkanya kwalo def kumi negativity ne son shaf pele na attention numba manje mufimbila kwata lense banchaya mention cause
Mama kolori no kuzima mutima no kutima neze kuti muima ayete kichima ayete
from zero to Zadi kichima from zero to Zadi kichima from zero to Zadi kichima come on kichima yeah started from the bottom pande off ya maotomo spitfire balenje batala kupishanga otomosh tumina ko bambuya bepshe bushaire fertilizer ya difka shukuru alefu amajombo ne koti vyonse bebe na lista role model na mukombon popular icona common OG benabo bambi ma pirate ma long john red winner sizing Facebook feature 15 imo confirmed di kunga transformation no dilunga
usiku mutima makolori no kuzima mutima no kutima neze kuti muima ayete kichima ayete
from zero to Zadi kichima from zero to Zadi kichima from zero to Zadi kichima
I'm raising a banner of glory, thanking God for changing my story. Your doubt is awakening, the champion in me. I kept it burning from zero to
from zero to Zadi
I kept it burning from zero to
Zadi
I kept it burning from zero to
from zero to Zadi